Here we go. There we go. If we look at just the children aged up to 14 years, we can see that 44 children have drowned in this period, and that's 10% of the total drowning. 23 were preschoolers aged 0 to 4 years, and 21 were school aged 5 to 14 years. In fact, these two age brackets have the lowest drowning rates for all age groups at 0.11 and 0.10 per 100,000 respectively. But remember, these two age groups are solely reliant on their adults to keep them safe. So these two age groups are really groups that we can work with to reduce this drowning even further. Preschoolers are most likely to drown in artificial waters, such as the pools and baths, in and around the home. So almost just over half, 12 out of 23 of those 0 to 4 years drowned in artificial waters, whereas school-aged children only had 6 out of the 21 in artificial waters, and they're most likely to drown, 2/3 drowned in the sea or in rivers. And if you look at that middle graph in the top of the slide there, unfortunately, Māori tamariki are horrifically overrepresented for both age groups. If we can move to the next slide, and I'll just talk very quickly about hospitalizations or non-fatal drowning. There were 305 of the total 958 hospitalizations in the 5-year period were children aged up to 14 years. So for fatal drowning, we had 10% of the total. Non-fatal drowning, we've got almost 1/3. So this age group make up a lot more of the hospitalizations. For the 0 to 4 years, again, more than 3/4 were in artificial settings. And the 5 to 14 years, almost 1/3 were artificial settings, and 2/3 were in the sea and rivers. Sorry, half were in the sea or rivers. And again, Māori tamariki are overrepresented. So let's talk to Harry about what we can do to try and keep our, first of all, 0 to 4 year, the young preschoolers, safe around water.
Yeah, thank you, T. And I guess for me, when I first had my daughter, Eva, you know, you think at that stage that being a new father, that you'll sort of know everything in terms of me being here working for Water Safe Auckland at the time, and now we're called Drowning Prevention Auckland, and being able to use my knowledge to keep her safer in, on and around water. And I guess for me, from that 0 to 2 age, with my experience with my with my daughter, was providing barriers for her, and obviously ensuring that I'm closing the doors if there's any gates or anything around. It's making sure that, you know, they're around, and it's for the pool, because I reflect back my grandparents or my wife's parents, they've got a pool. So at that stage with Eva, I encouraged them that they needed to have gates and fences for Eva growing up through that period. So that's the barriers. And I also was really vigilant around supervision, and I probably was a massive culprit with my daughter being that kind of like helicopter parent in different environments, whether even at the home. I'll be really close and vigilant with my child, and making sure that I'm always constantly checking where she's at. I can hear her and I can touch her. More importantly, to make sure that she's all right. And through those experiences in the bath time with my daughter, is making sure that I'm teaching her basic things by splashing water softly onto her face, being able to navigate her into the water when she's at that stage, just to make sure that she's learning while she's having a bit of bath time. And as a parent, I was fortunate enough to learn and being able to understand the importance of CPR and what that means to my child, and more importantly, making sure that if something does happen, I know how to respond and respond quite quickly. So those are the key messages as a father. That I can reflect on and really helped with my daughter's water competency. Yep. So I guess I reflect back to an incident where my daughter, we went for a walk near a pond. And just for a slight second, I just looked away, and then she must have been 2 at the time, and she just bolted off and wanted to get into the water. Lucky I felt something was wrong, and then I just quickly turned around and just grabbed her straight away. And I was really thankful she didn't go into the water. And I didn't try to show my emotions that, why did you do that? Because it's not her fault. And that's where, as a parent, you need to make sure that you're constantly with your child and understanding what they're doing. And people can get distracted quite quickly in my circumstance. So that's the importance of making sure that you're always paying attention, and that within that arm's reach, you can grab them straight away. Because imagine if I was far away, and stories that I've heard, especially with Pacific going on beach trips and leaving their kids in the like near the water's edge, and there's no supervision. Thankfully nothing bad has happened, but just in that, the potential of something bad happening to our tamariki could happen. So that's the sort of the story that I remember, and being able to respond quite quickly because of how I supervised my daughter. And through that is also taking her to the pool and incorporating some basic water competence stuff with my kids, teaching them how to blow bubbles and splashing water on their face, having a bit of fun, because nothing's cooler than you as a parent being in there with your child, teaching them, and being active in the water. And as a father, I don't see many fathers in there with their kids. And that's something that I try to encourage with parents or fathers, is being in there with their tamariki, because they learn a lot from you, and you can teach them a lot. You don't necessarily have to take them into swimming lessons. That does help, but you as a parent is the first teacher, and you can teach them a lot by doing things pool, in the bath, or even outside, and creating a bit of water play with your children.
Okay, thanks.
So that's sort of my sort of journey, and some key messages around that. And I think we're going to head into the.
We're going a minute. Can we just go back to those key messages once more, please? Harry's talked through these, and I just wanted to reiterate. So if you remember the 4 key messages for your 0 to 4 years, that's you're providing barriers, and those could be, the barriers might be things like your bathroom doors. So you're shutting off the baths and toilets. Supervision is the next one, and there's those 4 key components to supervision. It's such this big ghastly word, but if we break it down into these 4 components that make up supervision, it's a little bit easier to understand. The first one there is that visual and the hearing within sight and sound. So we always need to keep our youngster between sight and sound, within sight and sound. The next one is the proximity within arm's reach. Third one is the constancy. So being constant in your supervision. It's not on your phone, it's not reading your books, it's actually watching the whole time without distractions. And the last one is being ready to respond if something does happen. So, you know, being ready to actually jump and do things and have a plan about what you might do. The third point there, the third key message, Harry talked about lots of things that he did as a parent, as a first teacher. And there's some really neat things that you can do to instill confidence. And it's also making rules, like always having an adult whenever you're, or holding an adult's hand whenever you're around water. And the last one that Harry talked about is that learn child CPR, which is quite different to adult CPR. So it's really important to have that knowledge.
So just on T's point on number 3, so I teach my kids when we're up at Waipu Cove is that they're not allowed to enter the water without a parent. And it's interesting because you see a lot of the other kids, they just jump in. My kids, they automatically stop. They look around and they go, "Oh, Dad, are we going in?" Because I only can go in, they only can go in with an adult. So I agree with T here. You've got to make those rules, safety rules for your kids. And it's amazing how they can just pick up these things straight away. Another example would be, it's not water related, but around helmets. So my kids pick up messages around helmets and they never scooter or bike without a helmet. So those are the key things that, if you're creating those rules, kids will pick it up straight away and then that'll help.
Okay. On the DPA website, we've got some e-learning, and we're going to show you a video for one of our modules around early childhood. And so we'll go straight to that now, and you can have a look at this. Give you a break from listening to us.
I'm Nicola from Drowning Prevention Auckland. Today we're learning about water safety for under 5s. Children are attracted to water. As soon as your child becomes mobile, they are able to access any water left in or around your home. Babies have drowned in as little as 40 millimetres of water. Baths and showers provide a great opportunity to build confidence and water awareness with your child.
You see how the water comes out the holes at the bottom.
Provide barriers to indoor water risks by closing doors to baths and toilets. Always provide constant supervision for your child, within sight and reach, especially when in the bath or paddling pool. Ensure your children have a safe play area. Empty paddling pools and water containers. Store them out of reach or on their side so they don't fill up with rainwater. Home pools are a wonderful asset to the home, providing hours of entertainment for whānau. Most young children who drown in home pools access the pool unsupervised, usually at their own home or that of friends or family. Instill safe water safety rules such as children always asking adult permission before entering the pool area and ensuring older children always close gates. Young children should be supervised in the pool within arm's reach. Buoyancy aids such as arm rings are not a substitute for responsible adult supervision. It is important to maintain gates and fences to ensure your pool is always compliant. Portable pools should also be isolated as per the building code. Picnics and get-togethers with family and friends are often held close to water in the summer months. Supervise with constant visual contact and proximity. Avoid distractions such as talking on or looking at a phone. Ensure there is always at least one designated adult supervisor who undertakes a regular head count of all of the children. It is important to ensure life jackets fit young children correctly. If a life jacket is too big, it may fall off your child in the water or cover their face and restrict their breathing. Life jackets are a good idea for young children when on jetties and wharves and when fishing. Life jackets are essential when on small boats. There are several life jacket hubs around Auckland where life jackets can be borrowed.
Okay, thanks for that. Now we're going to focus more on the school-age children, aged 5 to 14, and Harry's going to talk about some of the things that he does to keep his children safer.
So Eva's 9 at the moment. She's turning 9 today or tomorrow actually. When I first started, when she turned 5, I was able to interact with her more in the pool and able to teach her a lot of the things that I teach when we're out at the different schools, at the different primary schools here in Auckland. And the first thing I try to teach her is how to enter the water safely, and that's entries and exits, which is one of our competencies. Which is important because if you're teaching them how to enter and exit safely, then that helps instead of teaching them. And I know a lot of kids that I've seen through my time teaching is that they automatically just jump in and bomb, but they don't realize the depth of the water. So that's the importance of teaching that. And for me, making sure that Eva understands that that's how you should be entering. So one of the entries into the water that I first taught her that I remember was the side entry, so she could just hop into the water safely. But I'll tell you, our backtrack was using the stairs because that's a way of getting into the water and into the water safely, and then using the side entry with my daughter. As she progressed, then we were able to do a few other things. And then the other thing was around teaching her how to float and stationary float actually. So she doesn't use too much energy. So that's important for her to understand that she can use her body to help her stay afloat. So that's a few things that I sort of developmentally went through with my daughter. But then there's some other programs that we do run in primary schools, and we teach a lot of them around different skills and not skills, competencies when it comes to our water competencies that we try to teach, such as having to put on life jackets and how to put it on properly and safely, so they understand what life jackets are supposed to look like and how they're supposed to wear it, and then that's on dry, and then we can transfer that into the open water. Because ideally, when you're trying to teach these kids, you want to sort of sequential sort of learning for them, so they've got different stages where they can go through and learn different things throughout their journey from more specifically around that 5 to 14 age group. So there's a lot of things that I try to teach. I'm not at that moment with my daughter to increase that yet, but then there's an opportunity for her to learn more once she once we progress through, and she gets a little bit older. So hopefully that gives you a bit of background around that.
This age group is our, if you like, our golden years that we can instill as much teaching and opportunities to learn before they get to that 15-year age group and they start to go to the aquatic environments on their own. So, you know, we're really trying to instill as many water safety rules, start to get them to think critically about the environments that they're in and whether they have the competence to be in those environments safely, or what they have to do to keep themselves safe. And you can see these messages that are up on your screen are actually the same messages for the 0 to 4 years, but they're in a slightly different order. So those water safety rules are really, really important. Then we could talk about the teaching water competence that Harry mentioned. And again, on the website, you'll see 15 water competencies that include a bunch of practical skills. Then we have knowledge, attitudes, and behaviours. So there's 15 in all, and each are required to be safe in and around water. The third one there around supervision is again the same, the seeing and the hearing, but the proximity may be a little bit further away. And as your child develops more competence in the water, you might feel more comfortable to let them explore more. But you're still there supervising, and it's still supervising without distractions, and you're ready to respond and get in the water if you need to. And again, the fourth message is knowing child CPR. Your child's getting a little bit bigger. Again, CPR is different to child CPR is different to for that of babies. So it's really knowing and having your plan in case there are emergencies.
Yeah, it's really hard for me, especially with this age group, is when I'm out and delivering, and you're seeing the wee ones, and they're with their parents, and they're not paying attention to their children, which is really tough as a parent, that you'll think that they'll be constantly monitoring their child, making sure that they're safe. But I just see them on their phones, texting, not really taking care of them. So supervision, regardless of even within that age group, we still have to keep an eye on them. My daughter, I still keep an eye on her. She's, like I said, she's turning 9 tomorrow. I'm always, even at her grandmother's pool, I'm still there with her, and within sight and reach, just to make sure she's safe. I mean, although I've been in this environment and I understand the things around it, or the risks, it's just me being a father. I just know I want to be there for my child. I want to make sure that she's having an enjoyable experience in the water.
Thanks, Harry. Now we're going to look at, we're going to change the age group of the e-learning, and we're going to go to our Water Safety for Children e-learning. And one of the videos in here looks at floating and orientation in water. So this module is more about what you can do to teach your child water competence. So we'll move to that now.
Hi, I'm Leilani from Drowning Prevention Auckland. This video focuses on learning personal buoyancy, floating on front and back, treading water, orientation, and the use of flotation aids. Flotation is a foundation water competency to keep airways out of the water.
Okay, shuffle out, spread out, right, find your own space, yeah? And you're gonna tuck up into a mushroom float. So tuck your chin down to your chest and tuck up, and you're gonna see what your body does. Yeah, so who's a floater and who's a sinker? Yeah, Michaela sinks a bit, eh? Good, find a spot, floating on your back. moving. Good. Now an I. Good. And a cactus or a Y. We're going to talk about floating better. So what can you do with your chin to make you float better? Other way around, honey, that will make you sink. So when you're in the water this time, you're going to put your chin really high and stretch as big as you can. Good, and stand tall. So when you were floating on your back, how did you stand up? What did you do? Because your legs are all very straight. What did you have to do to get them down? You had to bend them and push them down. That's right. Float, stand up. On your tummy, stand up. Can you hug it and float on your back? Show me. Use your arms. Good, you're trying to keep your head out of the water. That's right, we're going back the other way. Look away. Look at the class. If you move from your bicycle, yeah, using your hands. And now see if we can do egg beater. So your legs are going out, your hands are going out, pushing down with that water, pushing with your feet as well. You guys are watching to see what their feet are doing. Okay, so it's not like a bicycle, they're going out to the side and pushing. Push, 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 so you come up nice and tall. Floating on your front, face in the water. And when you need to breathe, you're going to roll onto your back to breathe and look up to the sky. Okay, so laying on your back, floating. Good. Vertical, straight up and down. And then you're going to sit up and look over there. And then you're going to look around here, and then you're going to look here and realize there's somebody here to help. Put your hand up for help.
Thanks for that. We're finished with that presentation, so we can stop sharing that if you'd like. So hopefully those videos have given you some ideas about what you can do to develop child's water competence. And we're going to take a few questions shortly, but today's a special day for us in New Zealand and all around the world, and Harry's just going to mention why exactly it's special for us.
Yeah, so around the world, it's World Drowning Prevention Day, which is 25th of July. And for us, this is our second time being part or doing the event. And we're fortunate today to do a dawn event out at Ohurangi, next to the statue Hape, just to acknowledge those who have passed through drowning, and then being able to have some key messages on how to, or not key messages, is to commemorate those who have lost. And our key messages, sorry, for our event is around the Float First campaign, and making sure that people understand, because everyone can float. Okay, is learning how to float, which is an essential skill and a water competency that we always encourage and we push. So yeah, we've been fortunate enough to be part of it, and yeah, it's going to be a regular thing. 25th of July, so is our World Drowning Prevention Day. Did you want to add anything?
We might have some questions.
Kia ora. Awesome. Thank you so much for that